You remember a few weeks ago, they finally released, someone finally leaked the meeting minutes of, the Pakistani ambassador to the United States with two State Department officials. And basically what they said, they told them, you need to get rid of your Prime Minister Imran Khan because we don't like the fact that he's neutral regarding the war in Ukraine. I remember the term they said, he is aggressively neutral, whatever that, what does that even mean? And so, basically this confirms what I had told you for the last year and what Imran Khan himself had been saying the whole time, that he had a document proving the United States is trying to get rid of him. They are trying to engineer a coup. And they did this, covertly by certainly not covertly when they spoke to the ambassador, but they got a few members of the coalition to defect to the opposition, and there was a vote of no confidence, and they got rid of him that way. And then he tried to dissolve parliament, and then they said, oh, well, you're breaking the constitution, you're violating the constitution, you have to be arrested. And then they said, oh, you're a terrorist, you have to be arrested. Oh, you're corrupt, you have to be arrested. Your wife is corrupt. All sorts of disgusting rumors and garbage and charges being thrown at him. So I've lived in Pakistan as a boy, and I cherish it very, very much. And Imran Khan is truly the most popular politician in Pakistan, without question. I mean, the second that they removed him, he was saying, I want elections. You cannot remove a prime minister based on 4 votes from some nobodies in the parliament. Let the people decide. Let's have a democratic election. Let the people decide. And they tried to bar him, right? In every, in all manners and in every way imaginable. So, because you're convicted of terrorism or corruption, you cannot run for president. You're ineligible in Pakistan, right? And I think a good many countries. But that was the game, right? And so he would go into these massive rallies. Get the people on the streets. Let's do a rally in Lahore. Let's do a rally in Karachi. Let's do a rally in Peshawar. Let's do a rally in Islamabad, and so on and so on. And he whips up these crowds that you've never seen in your life, that 50 American presidents could not whip up. Okay, maybe JFK. But really, I mean, not a single European politician in power today could whip up crowds like that. The numbers are just ridiculous. That is how powerful this man is. And so his supporters, they start getting arrested. People in his party, his entourage, his advisors, and he himself, they tried to assassinate him, right? He survived an assassination attempt. And 2 times in prison, so now he's still in prison. This is the second time. I mean, there's not a thing that this man has not gone through. And we have proof the United States engineered this. And so Blinken, who heads the State Department, he posts this on August 16th last week, and he says, congratulations to new Pakistan interim prime minister as Pakistan prepares for free and fair elections in accordance with its constitution and the rights to freedom of speech and assembly. We will continue to advance our shared commitment to economic prosperity. I mean, just reading that, I'm disgusted. But Twitter has a feature called Community Notes where people can add context. And look at what it says underneath. So underneath it says that the United States State Department under Antony Blinken on March 7th, 2022, encouraged the removal of Pakistan's previous democratically elected Prime Minister Imran Khan in April 2022. So, a month later, Imran Khan was removed from power and arrested. You love to see it. I mean, for once in my life, you see the truth. It's so weird, because the lies are there on TV, on Twitter, in the paper, and there's no rebuttal or correction next to it, right? You have to wait for someone to respond, maybe, right? There's going to be rebuttal later or something. No, here it's right next to it. It's so refreshing. It truly is. I mean, most of the time it's community notes. This feature is garbage, but in this case, it is, I mean, demonstrably true, right? We knew the United States was behind it. Imran Khan tried publishing the document, and then they said, you are abusing and violating the Official Secrets Act. Like, there's not one goddamn law in the country that they didn't accuse Imran Khan of breaking. I mean, it's just madness. It's like something out of a Russian opera or something. So this was refreshing. It's weird to see the truth underneath, but most welcomed indeed. I worry for Imran Khan. This guy is. There's a reason both Imran Khan and Julian Assange are in prison right now. Obviously, their paths crossed. Right? They did some interviews together, and Julian, the documents that he published, many of them were about Afghanistan, and you cannot talk about Afghanistan and Al Qaeda and the Taliban without Pakistan. Right? The CIA trained the Mujahideen, funded the Mujahideen, and out of them, you had Al Qaeda created, and so with people like Ayman al-Zawahiri and Bin Laden and so on. And actually, when I was living in Pakistan, when I was a boy, the embassy next to my school was blown up by Ayman al-Zawahiri, who was the Al Qaeda number 2, right? So the scourge that America brought to Afghanistan in the form of CIA funding and then creating this Al Qaeda that never seems to disappear. It infected Pakistan, of course, because this was happening right in another iconic and infamous area, the Khyber Pass, right up in the mountains. So this is near to Peshawar, and it's there's a sign there. When you go there, first of all, you need to get permission to go there in the first place, and you will be escorted. You will have an armed escort accompanying you the whole time. And the sign tells you that this area is not under the control of the government. You are on your own. This is a tribal area, okay? You are on your own. And this is because it's so mysterious, truly mysterious, right? And because it's not under the control of the government, things like Al Qaeda are able to thrive, right? And remember, they were flying in. They had, Bin Laden and Zawahiri. They were organizing and funding flights for young men to come from all over the place to fight in Afghanistan, right? Back in the 80s against the 70s and those. So from 1970, 1989, yeah. So during that war, and this, of course, was being funded by the CIA. Now, of course, they'll tell you, well, Bin Laden had his own money. I don't care. It's funded by the CIA, right? So then, Maktab al-Khibrat, and that was basically like Maktab al-Khadamat, excuse me, the Services Bureau is what it means, where, it was just a cover. It was a front for flying in people to fight, against the Soviets. And then after that, many of them joined Al Qaeda, and that's where it comes from. In any case, Imran Khan said exactly what I just told you, that Al Qaeda was created by the CIA. If not directly, then certainly indirectly. Same thing with ISIS. Same thing, right? And he said these things, and the Americans don't want to hear that. Especially when you have tens of thousands of Pakistanis who've been killed by the so-called war on terror. The Pakistan, they're partners with the United States, and on the surface, ostensibly, this was about, well, we're going to partner up and fight against Al Qaeda. We're going to combat terrorism together. It's a partnership. But really, what was happening is that the United States is just making money out of this war, and the victims, many of them, most of them, civilians, right? And a good chunk of them, Pakistanis. If you will, a good analogy, if I can think of one, is how in Vietnam, the war wasn't just in Vietnam, it was also in Laos, and it was in Cambodia next door. Do you understand? Same thing when we talk about Afghanistan. The war on terror, the so-called war on terror, was not just in Afghanistan, it was also happening in Pakistan. Pakistan was a victim of that, right? And so they didn't like that he's saying these things, And specifically, it was his stance on Ukraine. Apparently, being neutral is not good enough. It's aggressive to the United States. Yeah, I can understand why, because for them it's like you either do what we tell you, you put sanctions on Russia, you do this and that, you put travel bans and freeze their assets, and when there's a UN General Assembly vote, you vote this way. Yeah, if you don't listen to them, apparently this is being aggressive. How dare you, buy a gas and wheat for your country? You be gone. I'm surprised they didn't call him a dictator, but I feel really, really sad and really bad for Imran Khan.